Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are joining. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about some of my favorite sugary sweet perfumes that are pretty and feminine and at the same time really addictive. So if you like the sound of that, then please do keep on watching. But before we get started on the video, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel out and I would love to have you as part of this incredible fragrance community. So now that's out of the way, let's jump into the first fragrance, and it is actually a fragrance that inspired the concept of this video. This is called Sugar Addict from Born to Stand Out. Now this was sent to me complimentary from Twisted Lily, and I was thinking about what type of fragrance video I wanted to film today, and it was between sugary sweet and layering, and I think this perfume would fit both of those categories. Now this is a fragrance sweetener. I didn't actually realize that at first until I was looking into it, but I do feel like this fragrance stands strong on its own. It's quite a complex, sugary, sweet vanilla tonka bean with some creaminess. It's quite lactonic, but then you've got some booziness from the rum too. It's a little bit woody, kind of reminiscent of Milk by Commodity, but a little bit more sugary. Now, as a fragrance sweetener would suggest, you could add this to any other fragrance to make it sweeter. So it is a perfect layering fragrance. But I do feel like this stands strong on its own. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, you will know that I really adore Milk by Commodity. And I do feel like there are similarities within the scent profiles. But as I mentioned, this is sweeter. Definitely more sugary, but it has that kind of fluffy, airy, marshmallowy, creamy lactonicness that Milk has. And I just love wearing this one on its own, to be quite honest with you. But as I mentioned, it also makes a great layering scent. So I often use Kayali's Vanilla 28 to layer with other fragrances when I want to sweeten it or make it a little bit more vanillic. And this is another fragrance that I will now use for this concept. So let me know, what do you think about the concept of a fragrance sweetener? Is it something that you have in your collection? Do you often layer your fragrances? But if you're looking for a fluffy, marshmallowy, vanilla tonka bean scent that's very sugary, that has a boozy and a woody quality to it, I would definitely recommend checking out Sugar Addict, because it's such an addictive fragrance, and the name Sugar Addict sums this one up really perfectly. So yeah, the first fragrance that I wanted to add to this list is Sugar Addict by Born to Stand Out. So let's jump to something a little bit different, and this one is What About Pop by the House of Oud. Now this is definitely a very sweet perfume, very gourmand too. This smells like caramel popcorn, but it's really pretty and feminine, very addictive. But this is definitely one of the sweetest fragrances in my collection. I really have to be in the mood for this one because it really does smell photorealistic, like caramel popcorn, at least to my nose anyway. But wow, this is such an addictive fragrance. It's quite simple in terms of the scent profile. I'm not really getting much other than that popcorn note, that caramel note, and I also do get a little bit of like cacao butter. But this one layered with either a vanilla body cream or Sol de Janeiro's Boom Boom Cream. Yes. This one is incredible. But like I said, I have to be in the mood for it. So if you're looking for a kind of caramel popcorn scent that's really sweet, then I would definitely check out What About Pop from the House of Oud. Next up is one of the newer fragrances from Kayali, and this one is Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar. And as the name would suggest, this is a very sweet fragrance. I mean, vanilla candy, rock sugar. The name sums it up. But this also has candied pear, sweet violet, bubblegum, caramel, rock sugar, and vanilla cream. So this is a very sweet fragrance, and another one that I have to really be in the mood for. But I will say this is a very addictive, And when I first smelt it, I was a little bit unsure. I was like, this might be a little bit too young for me. It might be a little bit too sweet for me, but it has a really addictive quality to it. It does open with a burst of sweet pear and bubblegum. And that can be a little bit overwhelming at first just because it is really sugary sweet. But then when it dries down, some of the other notes come through, like the violet and that kind of creamy whipped vanilla. And it just becomes really, really addictive. So I would say this is definitely one of the sweetest fragrances from Kayali. So if that's your type of thing, then definitely check this one out. But again, for me personally, I have to be in the right type of mood to wear this. But that being said, when I am in that right type of mood, I really, really enjoy it. So this was Kayali's Vanilla Candy Rock Sugar. Next up is YLOP by Dora. Now this is one that I am always in the mood for at the moment. It is the newest release from Dora. And I think this has become my favorite fragrance from the brand. And if you watch my channel, you will know that I absolutely adore Dora as a brand. It just resonates with me. I like so many of the fragrances, but YLOP, this is just incredible. It is a very sweet apricot type of fragrance with some tea in here. I love, love, love this fragrance. I can't get enough of it. There's a slight green herbal note in here. I believe there's rosemary, but don't let that put you off because I mostly get an apricot jam. Super, super addictive, also with some tea. Now, it is a little bit reminiscent of Amouage Sunshine without that tobacco note. So if that was a fragrance that you smelt and you didn't like the tobacco note, definitely check out YLOP because this is definitely what I would say is more mass appealing. It has a slight pastry vibe to it, a little bit of spices too. But for me, this is mostly sweet apricot jam with tea, and I just adore this one. It is still quite new to my collection because it's a new fragrance, but wow, this is a huge love, one that I personally can't fault. It is super sweet, but I don't find it difficult to wear. So this was YLOP by Dora. Next up is Oriana by Parfums de Marly. Now, this is a sweet fragrance, but I feel like this one is balanced really well because it has a powdery quality about it. This is a burst of powdery sweet orange blossom with lots of marshmallow. I'm sure many of you have smelt this fragrance. I think this one is absolutely incredible. I would kind of call it a princess fragrance. It does remind me a little bit of Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy, but much, much wearable. It's not got that kind of sickly sweet caramel. For me, I find it sickly sweet in Love Don't Be Shy, but you might be different. Instead, this has a powdery marshmallow, which just makes this a lot more wearable to me. Almost has a Hubba Bubba bubblegum vibe as well, but you're getting lots of that orange blossom mixed in with a powdery and very wearable marshmallow note. And yeah, I just think Oriana is such a princess fragrance. It's sweet without going too far in that direction. A little bit better balanced than some of the other fragrances in this video, in my opinion. And I just think this is such a great fragrance. I will always love this, and it's one of my favorites within this scent profile. Another one I will say it reminds me of a little bit is Kilian's Princess. However, Kilian's Princess is not as sweet as this, and it also has that tea note in it. But yeah, it's kind of a mix between Kilian's Princess and Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy for me, if that makes any sense. I'm just trying to give you a bit of a reference point if you've not smelt this one before. But yeah, this is a fantastic sweet orange blossom and marshmallow fragrance. Next up is Wavechild by Room 1015, and I'm trying to give you some variety in the types of scents and notes in this list. Now, this is a very sweet watermelon fragrance, and to me, this smells like sugary watermelon slices, the candies, not actual watermelon. but it has that watery quality that watermelon has as well. But yeah, it just smells like sugary sweet watermelon candies to me, and I just find that so addictive. It does have some florals in here too, which stops it from being too sweet. But it also has this lightness, this watery quality about it. So it's not dense and sickly. Very, very easy to wear, very likable. I will say this one doesn't have amazing longevity. It's more medium longevity, but I don't mind overspraying this one, and I don't find it overwhelming when I do overspray it. And it's definitely one of my favorite watermelon fragrances in my collection. It just makes my mouth water, but it's a very sweet, sugary watermelon that's also quite light and watery and refreshing with a floral touch to it. So if you have not tried Wavechild and you like watermelon as a note, I would highly recommend sampling this one. So those were all of the fragrances that I wanted to go over in today's video, my sugary sweet fragrance recommendations. Please do let me know if you want more in-depth reviews on any of these. And if you've tried any of these, let me know what you think about them too. But what I would love to know is, what are your favorite sugary sweet fragrances? Please do let me know down in the comments below. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye.